Hello everyone and welcome to Versus 53, and today we're here for a Blender modeling series on how to model a car, and we're going to be modeling the Toyota Supra Mark 4. Do you want to learn Blender? Do you want a tutorial where you understand why and what you are doing? Then welcome to my channel. I'm going to teach you all on how to model a car in Blender from scratch. We're going to do everything from modeling it to rendering it. For this video, we will start off with the basic settings and configurations. You can find the settings file in the description. If you are familiar with Blender, then just go on ahead to the summary at the end to check all the changes I've made. So let's get started. So now I'm gonna just make a few essential changes to the system settings that I think you should do for yourself too. And I'm going to leave the file in the description so you can just copy that and make that your default file. So I'm just going to go ahead and close this timeline section right there. This is your default screen here. And now I'm just going to go to edit. I'm going to go to preferences. And the first thing that we're going to change is going to be down in add-ons. So I'll just go to add-ons. I'm going to search for loop tools. Loop tools is a good setting because it's going to help a lot with spacing between vertices and make your faces a little more topologically better. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to be searching for an add-on called Bolt Factory. So this Bolt Factory is going to be right on the top there. So this is going to help a lot with our nuts and bolts on our models. I'm also going to enable Node Wrangler there, right there. So this Node Wrangler setting is going to help us just have a better organization to our nodes when we're making materials and all of that stuff. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go to navigation. I'm going to switch on the depth option. The depth option is preferred when you're making complicated models. Next, we're going to go down to the zoom method and we're going to be changing that to continue. And we're going to also add zoom in mouse position. So what this option does is it's going to give you a smoother zooming in animation. Is just going to be a lot better to work around with it than a more glitchy effect. Then we're going to head up to our settings, and there's a lot of options here for cycles render devices. So CUDA and optics is going to be for NVIDIA graphic cards. So I currently have an NVIDIA graphics card in my PC, so I'm just going to go ahead to optics. I'm going to enable the optics setting, and as you can see, I have a GPU and a CPU down there. I have just not selected the CPU because all my load can just directly go to the GPU, and it just gives me a smoother process to deal with, and it's going to be a little less laggy for me. And if you do have other graphics cards, you can just choose HIP if you do have AMD, and you can choose one API if you do have an Intel card. And after you're done with those changes, just go ahead and save those preferences down to the left, and then we can just close this. Then we're going to go to render devices. We're going to change our render engine from EV to cycles, and then we're going to put the render device to GPU compute. So the GPU compute feature is just gonna give your GPU complete priority over your CPU, and it's gonna use your GPU to make all those render settings and all those materials and parts that we're gonna implement in there. Then what we're doing is we're gonna press N to open the transform toolbar. I'm gonna go down to view, and then I'm gonna change the clip start setting, which is the second option, and I'm gonna make it 0.005 meters. So this clip start setting is essential to do because when we're making complex models, we need a smoother zooming in option, and it needs to stay around the edge so that we don't completely pass through the model. So this clip start is going to enable that. Now what I'm going to do is just go down, open file, go to defaults and save startup file. I already have a saved startups file, that's why it's at overwrite. And if you do have the same, just press on overwrite and you can just do that. But you can also use my default file and use the same. So now I'm just gonna take you through a few of the recommended settings that I personally will recommend to you, and I do use them myself too. So now to start off with, I'm gonna go to edit, then I'm gonna go down to preferences, then I'm gonna go to interface, then we're gonna go to status bar, and we're gonna enable the scene statistics option. So the scene statistics option, just look at your bottom right on render. It's gonna enable a few statistics that are currently going on in the scene, like your vertices, faces, and what objects. So there's a cube in the scene, so it's showing cube. And I'm also gonna disable the extension updates and the blender version because it's just gonna come in the way, and this way it's gonna look a little less chaotic. So I'm gonna go to the next option now, which is gonna be themes. Then I'm gonna open up 3D viewport. Then I'm gonna go and find face. So as you can see here, the face has an alpha value of not 0 but a 0.008. So as you can see here, when I'm tabbing in to the edit mode here, it's showing me a semi-transparent shape here. So what I'm going to go and do here is change the face values from alpha 0.008 to 0, and now let's see what changes it makes. So just have a look at the cube now. Now that I'm going back to a normal solid view by pressing Alt Z again, you're going to notice a difference in the cube. It's going to look much more solid now, and it's just going to look a little bit better to see. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to node editor, and we have an option called noodle curving. This noodle curving option is basically in your nodes when you're materializing, it just adds a little bit of a curve to there. I feel like it doesn't bother me a lot, but if it does bother you, you can just change that to 0, and that is going to be okay. Right guys, and now I'm just going to go to viewport, and then I'm going to go to 3D viewport axis. So as you can see here, it's set to interactive navigation. So the interactive navigation is that X, Y, and Z axis that you're currently seeing on your screen, which I'm rotating right now. And I do like the interactive axis as it lets me switch by just clicking on those X, Y, and Z axis. And if you do want another option, you have the simple axes where you just have the X, Y, and Z and you cannot interact with them. I personally prefer a bit of interaction, so I'm just going to keep that on. And then I'm going to go down to navigation, and then I'm going to switch the smooth value from 200 to 0. So this is just going to switch from the animations that you're going from the top view to the side view. Is just going to make those animations completely instantaneous. So as you can see on the screen, there is no animation, and I just like that instantaneity. So just go ahead and do that if you like it like me. And after you're done, just go ahead and cross that. And then we're going to go up to the shader viewport shading menu. And then we're going to go down to X-ray. So what the X-ray feature is, just tab into the figure and you'll notice. So when I'm switching on the X-ray, it is gonna make the figure semi-transparent and then show me the node or the vertex behind it. So when I'm making it 1, the X-ray is gonna show me the entire figure whole and gonna show me the vertex behind 2. This is gonna be a lot very helpful because it's not gonna hinder with my model visibility. So next what we're gonna do is I'm gonna switch on an option called cavity and switch that from screen to world. So also there's an option here wherein we have ridges and valleys. So I'm just going to duplicate that by pressing Shift D and I'll show you the ridges and valleys. So the white outline that you're seeing around the edges of the first cube, those are the ridges, and the black outline that you might notice when the cubes are overlapping are the valleys. So I personally do prefer my ridges to be a little less white and my valleys to be a little more darker. So I'm just going to change the valley from 1 to 1.8 and the ridges from 1 to 0.4. You can see a visible difference now. The valleys are much more darker. You will see a black outline there, and the whites are a little less white, so it just gives a complete model. This gives a better overview and overlook to it. And now we're gonna go and switch off the floor, the X and Y axes, because I feel like in a 3D orientation it's just gonna give you a more cluttered look. So it's still gonna be there in your top view, front view, side view and back view where we're gonna be modeling majorly. So it's okay if you remove them from your main 3D orientation view. And to save this, we're gonna go to File, Defaults and Save Startup File and overwrite it if you've done my essential settings too. And I'll keep this link in the description too for you to just copy and get started with instantaneously. So now we're done with the video, and I hope you understood all the reasons why I changed the settings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.